This e-learning is about the automated charges for frozen modules invoice option. The first thing we need to do is to set up some rates. We can go for data here under data and frozen stored rates. I'm going to add a new rate here. I'm going to call this one frozen semen charge. And the first question is about the type. I'm going to say this is by straw. Next, I have to select and set up some rules for that rate. I'm going to create one rule here. In another video, I'm going to show kind of more advanced rules associated to a rate. Is this a flat fee per unit? I'm going to say no. Is this rate composed of static increments? I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to create increments of 100 straws. So for each 100 straws, I'm going to have a price of $25. Also, I'm going to create a rate here. I'm going to call this vitrified embryo charge. And this one's going to be number 3, which is vitrified embryos. I'm going to select that one. I'm going to add a rule. If I say flat fee per unit, for example, I could say $5 for each vitrified embryo, and that would multiply for as many embryos as I have in my frozen modules. I'm going to say no. I'm going to create a different increment here, static increments. I'm going to say for each 5 embryos, I'm going to charge $20. So it's going to be $20 for each increment of 5 vitrified embryos. Now that I have a couple of rates, next I go, let's start with the frozen semen inventory. Let's go general. I'm going to pick one customer here just so we can use as an example. Let's use Mr. Davis. So once you have the rates, next thing you do is to uncheck the option not to charge anything and select one of the rates. Here I'm going to put a date to begin the period. It's kind of the same concept what we have in the boarding module. Let me copy this in the clipboard so it's faster. I'm going to save this one. Let's use this on number 2 here as well. Yes, we're going to charge and paste, save, next one. Let me do this real quick. It's going to frozen charge, paste, and the last one. I'm going to do just this customer here for the sake of not ownership, but storage. No charge. Frozen semen. Done. All right, so let me refresh the list. And one thing that I'd like to show you, if you go back here, you're going to see that we have new columns. So this column is for the rate that is associated and when the new period starts. So if I had put the new period for one of these batches here, February 1st, for example, and I was charging for January, of course that one would be not included, as well as if I had set this checkbox here for no charge, that would be avoided as well. And if there's no rate associated to the batches, they're not in my charging process either. Likewise, I'm going to go now for my mare management and the frozen tanks for vitrified embryos inventory. I'm going to pick a couple of options here. I'm going to double click on this one. So this is a new area you're going to find in your vitrified embryos. Just say no charge, and as we created the rate for that, I'm going to put the same start period. I'm going to do this one for this one here as well. And let's just spice it up a little bit and make sense. This is our, let me change this owners. I'm going to say that this owner here is not. So just, I'm going to put under Mr. Davis as well. So we're going to see all in one account. The ownership for that one has been changed. Let me change this one as well. Remove this owner, add Mr. Davis with 100%. And I'm going to save that. Done. So if I refresh the list now, both are under Mr. Davis and both now have rate and a new period date for charge. Having that done, we go straight to the billing module, and you're going to have your go back point, you're going to charge your board, so forth. You go in here, we have now a new button that says frozen storage. In this example, I'm going for the month of January, and this is the start date. This is the end date of the period for the period I'm charging, and this is the date I'm going to put in the customer account showing the charge on the last day of the month. You could select also if you're going to do this only for frozen semen and for vitrified embryos, because sometimes the rule might change down here, and use different ones, so you can use either or. The quantity option is only for frozen semen, so we have two options mainly here. One is to charge for the highest quantity in the period, because sometimes you're going to notice there's a spike. Let's say, for example, if there was 400 straws on the January 15th, but at the end of the month we just ended up with 80 straws. If I leave this option here, it would charge for 80 instead of the 400 if I go for the highest moment in the inventory quantity in your selection. Another thing is about grouping. So if you say by horse, every time it changes the horse, it starts counting again. So if you have multiple horses and you wanted to apply the grouping number of straws to calculate the charge per stallion, you should keep by horse. If you set up by customer, it's going to count the number of straws for all the stallions which belongs to a certain customer, and then apply the rule regarding that rate based on that number of straws. In this example, I'm going to use by horse, and you simply click charge, all set, double confirmation, and it's done. So now when we go, I'm going to use this button here as a shortcut to go to the customer management. I'm going to select Mr. Davis, and when I go to the account, now we're going to find a few new invoices. We're going to find invoice number 1 for frozen semen, Wildcat, 100 straws, $25, following that rule. Frozen semen, 245 straws. So in this case, would round the number for 300 straws, following the rule, which is $25 per increments of 100. So 300 straws would be 3 times $25. And the vitrified embryos, it's here divided in 2 invoices, because one is for the donor mare, Hope by Envy, and the other 2 is for the donor mare, Great Stop. If you want to put in the vitrified embryos, for example, by owner, not by horse, getting back to that moment where we charged, you would have to select frozen semen inventory only, do it by horse, and then you would in the second round charge the vitrified embryos on inventory only, and in that case by customer. Let's do an example here for you to see what I'm talking about. I'm going to charge, in this case here, February 1st. Let me get back here, February 1st through February 28th. And I'm going to place the charge on February 28th. This is a good example that is possible to do future dates as allowed. So I'm going to do only frozen semen by horse. I'm going to keep these numbers and perform. A warning because I'm using a future date. In my example, continue, and it's done. Now I'm going to invert for vitrified embryos, but for vitrified embryos I'm going to do customer only. I'm going to charge it again. And let's take a look now at Mr. Davis' account. So this for January we had 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because in the vitrified embryos I had said per horse. Now we're going to maintain 2 horses for February because I kept by horse in the frozen semen. However, for the vitrified embryos, the 2 mares should be in one invoice. And as my rule is $20 up to 5 vitrified embryos, because I had 2, the charge remains $20. So today you had an overview regarding the new automated charges for frozen modules in WiseOption. Thanks for watching.